this episode, we're going to start setting up some stats for our player. So things like the player's life, the player's health. So we can start interacting with them and we can start using these statistics to display them through things like UI. So let's start with creating a new C# script. We're going to call this script Game Manager. And let's open that up. Now, we're only going to want one game manager in the game. So we're going to make an instance of this. So we're going to go public static game manager. I'm going to call it instance. And then we're going to use a new Unity method called void awake. So awake gets called a single time like start, but it gets called before start. So we're going to go if instance equals null. And then inside our if statement, we're going to say instance equals this, and then else destroy this. So we're checking, so instance is just our variable name for our game manager. Static means there's only one of them, but it can be accessed freely without proper reference. So this is what you would call a singleton pattern. So we're going to set up our instance. We're going to check if it exists. If it doesn't exist, we're going to set it to this. If it does exist already, then we're going to destroy this to make sure there's no duplicates of this causing us any problems. All right. So next, let's start getting some statistics ready for our player. So let's put a header for management purposes, and let's call these player stats. And then let's start with health equals, an int health, and let's set that equal to 100. And then we're going to go int, let's call it lives, and set that equal to, let's start with 5 lives. And then we're going to set up int for gold, and we'll set that to 0. I think that's a good place to start from now. So we're going to get rid of start. Actually, let's just leave start for now. Get rid of this comment. We're going to start with a basic few more methods we're going to need. So we're going to need a void. We're going to make these public methods in case we need to call them. Public void respawn. Gonna leave that empty for now, and we're gonna go public void game over. Leave that empty for now as well. And we're gonna go public void dead. Okay. We're also gonna need another bool, and we're gonna call it is dead. I'm gonna set that to false. Then we're going to make all of these serializable so we can see them in Inspector. I copied the I as well. Okay, perfect. So now they'll all show up in Inspector. Let's also do it to is dead so we can see it later on. So these will be good for examples. Okay, so we've got some basic stats for our player. We can expand on these later, but for now, this is a good start. And then we're going to check that our player's health. So we're going to say if players, oh, if health is equal to or less than 0, then we're going to call dead. Okay. And then for dead, we're going to write lives minus minus. So we're going to reduce our lives count by 1 because we've died. And then we're going to say if lives is equal or greater than 0, because you still want them to be alive on their 0 life, then we are going to call respawn. And if we're just going to go else, no, not if. Else, we'll call game over. Now, until we make multiple scenes for the games, we won't really have a use for this game over, but usually it would take you back to your menu scene. But we will start setting up a respawn when we start setting up some checkpoints. But first, we're going to go through and set up some UI to display these stats and look at setting up some gold that we can collect. See you in the next video.